I got coach's name tag messed up? Huh? You coming in here too? Oh. Oh, probably not. Good tone. It's bright up here. God, super bright.
Okay, we are here with Kentucky student athletes, Trey Mitchell, Antonio Reeves, and Adu Thiero. We have 15 minutes with the student athletes before head coach John Calipari. Please raise your hand to ask a question, and a person with a microphone will come over. Please state your name and media affiliation. If you are joining us on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Questions for the student athletes? Right here in the front.
Tyler Thompson, Kentucky Sports Radio. Trey and Adu, this is obviously a homecoming game for you. How excited are you to be back home? And two, how many friends and family are coming to watch you play?
Trey, you want to start first?
It means the world to be back home in my final year of college basketball and on this team and kind of being able to have people around me kind of see this moment come full circle for me to play Kentucky. And I honestly couldn't give you a number with how many people that have hit me and said that they're going to be there tomorrow.
I do.
I'm super excited to play at home. I got people texting me who haven't seen me play since I was a little kid, telling me that they're coming to the game. So, just like what Trey said, just super happy to be home and be able to play here.
Questions for student athletes? Back corner, right?
Noah Hiles, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Adu, I remember talking to you, I think just only like 3 or 4 years ago. You were 6'2". You only had a couple of mid-major offers. A lot of growth has taken place for you, both physically and as a basketball player, playing a new position, playing at a very high level. Can you just talk about your growth, both physically and as a player?
I say it was very difficult, just getting to the school, trying to find my place, also dealing with growing and everything. But, it helped me become how I am right now and play the way I'm able to play right now, and I'm just very blessed to be in this position.
To the left, second row.
Dusty.
You're good.
Dusty Baker, Wave Sports. For all three of you guys, the defense has been kind of the story this season and whether or not it's been showing up. And just having this week off, how much of that has been a focus for this team? And going into the tournament, how confident are you in your defense? With that, whether it's Oakland or any team down the road as well, how confident are you across the board?
I'll start with this. Very confident in our defense. Been working on it for a couple of days now, just in practice, just focusing on, just things like getting over ball screens, getting more physical down low. So we emphasize that each and every day. So.
You else want to add? You good?
I think that was pretty good.
All right. Right middle here.
Bailey Tucker, College Basketball Review. Trey, you've been at UMass, Texas, West Virginia, and now here at Kentucky, and you're wrapping it all up. This is your last season. What are your expectations for your last time playing in this tournament, your last chance to play in this tournament?
I just expect the all-out effort, I can't say that I expect anything but the best from our guys, and some other dudes in the locker room, it's their last go-around too, and I know nobody wants to go out sad, so there's 40 minutes of basketball to be played, and we plan on playing all 40, every single second of it, everything we got.
Left front right here.
Jerry DePaula, Pittsburgh, Trib Total Media. Your father played for Coach Cal at Memphis, and now you're playing for him. From what you've heard from your dad and from what you've observed, how has he changed over the years?
My fault. My pops, he would tell me stories and everything, but he was more rough back in the day. Had them running a lot more and everything, but he still has us do all that. But I feel like he's taking it a little bit lighter on us. And see, I'm okay with that because the stories my dad was telling me, they was going through it.
Back right.
Trey, to piggyback on the last question you were asked, about your journey, how special is it that, in the very tail end of your journey, you get to kind of play where it all started?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable blessing from above, I've had an interesting path, to say the least, I've had my ups and downs, and And I've been through adversity, and just about everything's been thrown at me, you know. And although it's not necessarily a desired path, but it is the path I believe I was meant to be on. And at the end of the day, just for it to kind of just come full circle like this is just proof in itself that this is the path that I was supposed to be on.
Back right again.
Your stepdad told me that the Italian side of your family might be able to fill this building by itself. How many family members from that side, or just in general, do you think will be here this weekend?
Sheesh. Family alone, I'd probably say if they are breathing and they are in Pennsylvania, that they're gonna be here. You know, even some family coming from the south. The Italian side is very large, and I'm sure I'll be able to hear their voices over anybody that's in there. But on top of that, I think like any person that I've had some type of relationship or come into contact with throughout my time in Pittsburgh, through AAU, high school, whatever it may be, they've all told me that they're going to be here.
Left out right here.
Kevin Gorman, Pittsburgh Trib. Just for any of you guys, just wanted to know, first of all, what you know about Oakland as a team and as a university, and also we've talked to them a little bit about being the underdog. What's it like to come in and not want to be the victim to a Cinderella story?
I'll do however you start us off and work our way down.
You know, our focus has been more on us and trying to fix our things rather than worrying about them the most. But yeah, we still watch film on them and everything. They're a great team. You know, they got shooters, they have inside players, but we just know we're gonna come in and fight.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what he said, just worry about us at the end of the day. Try to figure out, you know, the game plan, what we have to do out there, defensive wise, offensive wise, and just give it a full 40 minutes and just don't worry about, you know, what they have going on. Just play our game.
Dre.
Yeah, I would agree with both of their statements, and that, you know, nobody wants to be part of a Cinderella story, and I think that our guys understand that, and that this team is in a tournament for a reason. You know, they're not to be looked over, and they're capable of coming out and playing a really good game. So we have to be ready for the moment, and I think we will be.
Third row, right.
John Huang, NOLA Media. Trey and Adu, the guy sitting between you had one of the most fantastic seasons in the history of Kentucky basketball. Can you explain to me why you don't think he gets as much recognition as he deserves?
Trey, you want to start?
I mean, yeah, that's easy. You know, he's humble. He's a humble beast. You know, he's not a guy that's going to come out here and brag or seek attention. But on top of that, it could be just because we have some young guys with really big names, and some people are focused on that. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, this kid gives us production night in and night out. He gives us leadership, and, you know, he does it with the same look on his face the whole time. You never know what's going through his mind, but you know what you're going to get from him. So it's just like he deserves all the recognition that there is. I mean, we're at, if not the best basketball program to exist in college basketball, you know, and he's performing. His name should be up there with some of the best of them.
I do.
You know, his consistency, even if other teams are trying to take away his scoring ability, he's able to do the little things, whether it's get a rebound, go back up for a putback, play defense, all that. Like, he's able to do everything. And then we just have multiple parts on this team. So I feel like because, you know, we have Reed, Rob, DJ, Justin, all the other freshmen, like all our freshmen are, I'd say all our freshmen are good players. So they're getting more of the shine and kind of overlooking Antonio. But at the end of the day, you look at the stats. Stats don't lie.
Right middle.
Nathan Geese, Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Trey, you've had quite a few different teammates throughout your kind of journey, but one of them, Joe Toussaint, you guys were at West Virginia last year. What's your guys' kind of relationship, and do you have any good stories of Joe that I can use against him?
You know, that's my dog. You know, that'll be my brother till I die, you know, and I think nothing but highly of Joe. You know, we were close while I was at West Virginia. You know, we crossed paths earlier before our teams were practicing in the same facility. So it was good to see him and catch up with him. But as far as any stories, I'm not going to expose him like that. But nah, he's a funny dude and he's a great person.
Left middle.
Shelby Cassesi, WPXI, Trey, and Adu talked about the homecoming a little bit, but when you look back at your upbringing here in Pittsburgh and the time you spent here, how much do you think this area has really just made you into the men you are today and the basketball players you are today?
Drew, you want to start?
You know, there's a lot to Pittsburgh. You know, there's a lot of things you can get into, a lot of different people you can run into. I would say through my life growing up here, at least from a basketball perspective, I felt like there was always someone reaching out to me to, you know, get working and get better, or come play pickup here with these guys that are college players now. Like, just come get better. There's so many people in the community that have just helped me develop my game and really helped me find my love for the game and push me to be more.
I do.
Yeah, I say just growing up here helped mold me. You know, my family, the people around me, everybody just, you know, try to keep me focused at all times, make sure I wasn't getting off the right path. And I think that doing all that and just listening to the right people, that just got me to where I am today.
To the left.
Man above.
Kevin Gorman from the Pittsburgh Trib again. Wonder how much Cal has talked to you guys about his days at Pitt and in Pittsburgh. If he's talked to you all about when he was an assistant coach at Pitt, or bringing Kentucky back and playing in the NIT against Robert Morris. How much have you heard any stories this week in particular?
You want me to take it?
Trey, yeah, here we go.
There hasn't been too many stories like in depth, you know, but he's had some people around that have coached him or coached with him out here, and we got to meet them today. But as far as story goes, you know, Coach doesn't seem to be too long-winded about those at the moment. Maybe he's just more focused on the task at hand. But I'll have to ask him about it. We'll see what he says.
Antonio, you got anything to add? Are you good?
No, that's
good with that one. All right, left middle.
Brooke Pryor with ESPN, Trey and Adu, kind of building on that theme of Cal and Pittsburgh. I know Mike Tomlin and Cal are close friends. Growing up in Pittsburgh, did you guys ever have any interactions with Mike Tomlin, or were you guys kind of involved or have any kind of relationship with him?
Adu, you want to start us off with that one? You good with that?
Trey got it.
Trey got it? All right, Trey.
He said Trey.
With Mike, I wouldn't say anything in particular. I've been to a couple of football camps when I used to play football, and he was there, but I wouldn't say that we've had any, like, interpersonal connections. I think that it might be someone in his family was a basketball player, and I was running the camp there, so I met him in that way. But, you know, it wasn't too long-winded or anything like that, just kind of a show-and-go type of thing.
I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't working. I don't really watch football, and I didn't play it in, you know, all my years, so I don't really got nothing to say about that.
Probably got time for one or two more. Any more questions for student athletes? Oh, right here, sorry.
Hi, this is for Trey, Jerry DePaula, Pittsburgh Trib. Have you ever had much interest in playing for your hometown team, you know, while you were in college?
Pitt?
Yeah.
They've reached out to me, you know, but for me, I didn't want to necessarily be at home because I felt like it was easy to get distracted. You know, I have a bigger goal in mind, and I wanted to stay focused, and I know being this close to home would provide a lot of opportunities for people to get in my ear and distract me from what I'm trying to do.
Thank you.
Probably got time for one more question. All right, we got last two right there.
Yeah, as Pittsburgh natives, what are some great local recommendations on where to eat?
Adu, you want to start us off?
What do you think, bro?
I got one for your breakfast spot, Pamela's. Don't act like he was going to say that.
I don't know what I was going to say.
You got to give him some.
Huh?
Always Chick-fil-A.
This is the pizza spot, Minio's.
I mean, the one spot I always go to when I come back is Hook's Fish and Chicken.
What about you, Antonio? You got a favorite spot?
No, not here.
No. All right, last question right there, middle right.
Antonio, Coach Calipari said that he went around and asked each of you players why you thought this team could advance far in the postseason. I was wondering, what did you say, and was there anything that one of your teammates said that really caught you off guard?
Something that he said was basically just, we have a whip, basically. We have every piece that we need for the tournament, coming from guards and the bigs. Just everybody can contribute to the team, and everybody can play a role to this team. So that's one thing he said.
All right, we're good. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just a friendly reminder, cell phones should be turned off or put on silent, and that flash photography is not permitted. Hammond Communications is providing the video feed, which will be available on the FTP site found on the NCAA Media Hub. Therefore, no video cameras are permitted, including cell phones or tablets. Thank you for your cooperation.
a water up here?
We'll get you a water.
Brett, can I get a water?
Okay, just a reminder, please raise your hand to ask a question, and a person with a microphone will come over. Please state your name and media affiliation. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Questions for Coach Calipari? Right here. Front. Oh, front left.
Hi. Jerry DePaula, Pittsburgh Trib Total Media. John, the obvious question is your feelings coming home to coach in your hometown, but I'm also interested in the Pitt recruiting class of 1988. Miller, Matthews, Martin.
I have a picture in my office in Kentucky that I'll put out. I'll take a picture of it and send it out so you can get it. It's all those guys, and they've all stayed in touch.
You know,
what a great group.
How were you able to get all of them to come at one time, and would you regret not getting to coach them?
Sean was like family. Darrell always wanted to come. Matter of fact, we signed him before he took an official visit. Now, he was from the city. Bobby wanted to come to Pitt. You know, boom, boom. Brian Shorter I'd known since he was, and Jason Matthews wanted to come to Pittsburgh. And I went to L.A. and, you know, and Paul Evans did a great job recruiting him too now. You know, he was the head coach, but, you know, that was an interesting, you know, let me tell you why. Just listen to him. How many of you are from Pittsburgh? Yins, downtown. I mean, come on. The crick. We had a crick in our backyard. My mom used to say, "Red up." Like, red up? What is red up? Like clean up. Red up. Do you know what a gum band is? Like a rubber band? It was gum band. Pop? I never knew. They said, "Are you going to have a soda?" What the hell? What are you talking about? Pop? I mean, let me say this about Pittsburgh. When I grew up, it was a blue-collar town. But it's never changed the roots of what Pittsburgh is and what it's about. The Steelers are still I call them the Stillers, as in Pittsburgh, Stillers. They're still a blue-collar team with fans who love them. And like where I grew up, my high school teammates are still my best friends. They still come to games, and they will, you know, and they say, you know, anyway. But we were all brought up the same way. Our fathers were laborers. Mom raised us and put hope and dreams, and you can be whatever. That was Mom. But we were all the same. It was a melting pot. And, you know, you were taught, there's nothing in this world is going to be given to you. You're going to have to go take what you want, and if you don't work, you will not eat. That was the famous line. You don't work, you're not eating. You work. You better, if you want to be better than somebody, you better work. That's Pittsburgh. And it was the greatest thing. And I think sometimes anybody that's been here and left knows that's what it is. And also yins and down, you know, all the other how about this word? Jag-off. Come on, where else do you say jag-off other than Pittsburgh? And when I say it, they go, "Oh my, did you hear what it just said?" And in Pittsburgh, that's like in passing. So, no, I appreciate that, and I love coming back. I'll probably take the tour of my grandparents' house and my other grandparents and our house where I grew up and the high school and my aunts and uncles and cousins, and I normally come back and I do the whole drive, and, you know, but special place. I called Mike Tomlin. Why don't you come in and talk to the team? Mike and I are friends. He's in a pro day somewhere. Can't do it, but special place.
Front right.
Jeff Nyberg, Philadelphia Inquirer. You've had a number of guys over the years who've been in a similar situation of DJ and Justin coming in, top recruit, projected NBA lottery pick. How do you think they've managed those pressures and expectations?
I think they've done great. I mean, my job is to help them walk through this. And at the end of the day is I just want them being their best. And when I'm with them every day, I know what that looks like. But when they're playing against other guys, they know what it looks like too. most of it for young guys, and again, I've got the youngest team in the field, I would tell you is the mental part of this. Can you be a cheerleader for yourself? What is your inner talk? They have to learn that. You have to push out anything that's coming at you negative. Anybody is telling you, well, if they did this and did that, it doesn't help. Both of them. DJ being hurt and sitting out 2.5 weeks really affected him. He's come back. He's better. He's back to where he was. He was the freshman of the week 4 times, and then he took 2.5 weeks off, and it's taken him time. Justin, I could not be more proud of any player I've ever coached. To know where he was, to know the expectations that were on his shoulders, to know all the stuff he was hearing. And I said, Justin, I just want you to know I believe in you. And he said, Coach, I want you to know I believe in you, and I'm sticking with this. And then he makes it. We don't win at Tennessee if he doesn't play that way. Now, here's the thing with all guys, they're not machines and they're not robots. They have bad games and they have bad nights, and it's what they are. The good thing about this team I'm coaching is we have a deep team. For a couple years, if 1 or 2 players played poorly, I didn't have subs. You left them in and you end up losing. And I'm not just talking the NCAA tournament, other games. With this group, if these 2 or 3 are not playing well, just play these 5 or 6, and we'll run with them. And they know it. We've had, I believe it's 7 guys had 25 or more points, and 9 or 10, or maybe even 11, have had 13 points or more. We got that kind of team, but we're really young. And then your next question, someone would, for Pittsburgh, Yins don't play very good defense. That will be your question to me. At times, Yins do play good defense. And there are other times you're like, what are you thinking? But I'm loving coaching this team. I mean, it's practice today, and all I'm telling them is, you make sure I'm having as much fun as you. So we'll see. And there's no guarantee in this tournament. And let me say to everybody, forget about seed and all that stuff. If you win on a half-court bank shot by 1, you celebrate because you're surviving and marching on. That's what this tournament is. You don't let everybody come at you. You got to do this. You have to do this. If they don't do it this way, go ahead. Have your fun. This is about survive and advance. And we're playing a good team now in Oakland. They're good. What they do defensively, what they can do offensively with 2 kids taking 23s every game and having the freedom. Greg is a great coach, not a good coach, a great coach. And then they play funky defense. They play a defense is not normal. And I'll tell Greg, we're not changing much. So when you watch what we do against zone, that's what we do. I'm not trying to be tricky. Here's how we play. I don't want them thinking too much. I want them playing. Let's just be who we are, and let's see if that's good enough.
We got a question, middle back.
Yeah, John, Darryl Burr with Cats Paws in Lexington. It feels like when you guys have a lead, there's a lot of passing, a lot of up-tempo, and when you're behind, there's more dribbling, more 1-on-5. How can you make the team
to get
keep
behind
playing?
Or when we're behind?
When you're behind. How do you get them to keep playing the other way?
Reed Shepard said to me, Coach, I'm not sure we're selfish, but I think we have so many good players. Each guy's trying to get us back in the game himself, and we're just not as good when we play that way. Now, we talk about it, but there's game slippage, and they revert back to their habits sometimes, and that's both on offense and defense. Look, I've had video. We did highlights to show them here's when we're at our best. Here's when we're not. And most of that is we hold the ball. But they're not robots. They're not machines. They don't play. There's stuff that you're teaching that they miss on. You talk about the pressure of this tournament. It's on everybody. You got more than anybody else, and Reed has more than any. No, it's on everybody. And how you deal with it is how have you done throughout the year when you're down? Have you ever been down 36 minutes and came back and won the last 4? Have you been up they make a run and you got to make another run. All that stuff adds up to the experience a young team like ours needed.
Middle aisle right here.
Cal Will Graves, AP. Yins don't play good defense.
Where are you from?
I'm not from here. I work here, but I'm not from here. I covered you a long time ago.
Where at?
In Lexington.
Okay.
And obviously I made an impression.
Okay.
Anyway.
Do you paint your hair? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You talked eloquently about the blue collar. If you don't work, you don't eat. You have players, highly talented, skilled players that come in, and your program has the best of everything. I mean, that's the way that it is. How do you instill that blue collar, work ethic that you need to win with these kids? And I'm not saying they're not spoiled, but they're certainly well taken care of.
Well, most of them are fighting for their families. That's why you come to Kentucky. Can I do some humble brag up here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's your show.
So 70% of the players who accept a scholarship with us get drafted. 70%. Of that, 73% get to second contracts. The guys in the league right now have made over billion dollars. And when you talk Bam, Maxey, Devin, De'Aaron, Shea's going to make 400. I mean, it'll be $6 billion in the next 2 years. You come to Kentucky to prepare yourself for the rest of your life. You don't come for NIL, even though you saw our managers got NIL deals. So yeah, it's all neat, but that ain't why you come. And you learn to be a great teammate. You know why? You got to share. You're not going to be told you're going to start, how many minutes, how many shots. That's why there are kids that will never come here, because sometimes they think there's an easier path. There is no easy path. And these kids live in the gym. We have a machine called a Noah machine that's over top our baskets. Ours is a training facility, not really a basketball practice facility. It's a training facility. When they walk in, their face recognition, we all know how many shots they've taken, when they're missing, why are they missing, and they come in there and they live in there. Tyler Hero lived in the gym. He lived in there. So did Shea. They were, again, fighting for their families. And in these kind of tournaments, they understand you're fighting for each other. You fight for each other. You do this together. But, if anybody comes here and then tries to get soft, you don't play. And the guys that live in the gym that played for me, those guys, the Michael Kidds, the Anthony Davises, those guys, the Brandon Knights, I can go on and on. Living in the gym, they're the ones that busted through. Most of it, they made it happen. We have a stage for you to go show what you are. But they've got to do it. I tell them all the time, I don't have a magic wand. It isn't that. It's the culture. It's the process. It's being a great teammate. How about this? Why would good players want to play together when they know they have to share? Because really good players want to play with other really good players. If you're not so good, you want to be the main guy until they play box and one, triangle and two, and every defense is stop. I'm not having any fun. Yeah. It's hard when they're looking at you and saying, we're stopping you. Hard to do when you have a full team. I don't know if that makes sense. Was that even what you asked me? No, okay.
Right middle.
Coach Cal, Bailey Tucker, College Basketball Review. You guys were knocked out of the SEC tournament pretty quickly to Texas A&M. What is your message to your team to try to bounce back off that loss and make a run here in the tournament?
A lot of teams got beat early in their tournament. We just happened to be one of them. So let's go. We got more rest. I took them bowling. We went bowling. Who was the best bowler we had? Everybody said Antonio because they know he bowls. He didn't. It was Trey. Trey never told anybody he was a bowler. Bowled over 200. We split him up and let him compete and laugh and eat. And let's regroup and get back after it. I mean, you won't believe this. There are teams, and sometimes it seems to be against us, the team plays their absolute best game against us. And you lose, but you learn from it. You win or you learn. We learn. We move on, and let's go. And me being the coach, probably at my age now hurts me more, and it takes me a little more time to get over it. But when it's done, I move on and let's go. My job right now is to just, every year, make sure they're playing their best basketball in March. Second thing is take it off them, take it on your own shoulders, let them be young players and let them play and have fun. And the third thing is to make sure they're focused about being together and connected. So, but I'm not the only coach doing that. It's every coach trying to do. They want their team in March to be at their best.
Back middle.
John, Daryl Bird again. I know you talked a lot about Pittsburgh, but I'm curious, you personally, growing up in the 60s and 70s, some of your favorite memories, any of the Pittsburgh professional athletes you kind of idolized or anything like that?
Yeah, and you know, we were Steeler fans. I never got to. Somebody said, "You go to a hockey game? Where were we getting the money to go to a hockey game or the Steeler game?" My Uncle Joe had 2 tickets for his whole life when no one was going, so he kept them. And I think I got to go to a Steeler game 1 or 2 times with him. And the Pirates, everybody went to opening day and mobbed Three Rivers Stadium. To be 60,000, and the next game there'd be 3,000. And I don't know how I got in there, but my memories, the Immaculate Reception, you know, which is a ball hit against the Oakland Raiders that, you know, I mean, I was a Bill Mazeroski fan all the time. You know, Forbes Field, which is up in Oakland, they have the plate still there, and he hits the home run to beat the Yankees. Clint Hurdle and I were great friends. Mike and I have been great friends. So I get to come up here and, you know, really watch and do it. And my high school team made the playoffs for the first time in 30 years. Moon High School, that was a big deal. Newcastle beat us. Made me mad. But, you know, none of us had much, but we never did without. I mean, I'm not trying to say I walked uphill on the way and on the way back. I mean, it's what it was in Western PA. But I wouldn't want to be with where I was, the way we never had a credit card. Anybody ever do layaway here? You do layaway? Okay. That's how we got Christmas. They laid it away for 4 or 5 months. We did layaway for furniture. Like, that's just how it was. Mom and Dad weren't going to have a credit card. We weren't going to owe anybody. So I don't have a credit card. Yes, I do, but I'll just say that.
We only have time for a few quick questions. Last question. So we got one right here. You could go since you have the mic, and then right there in the right middle. And then, yeah, I give you the okay. So 3 quick ones here. So starting right here with the mic left here. Yep.
Shelby Cassasi, WPXI. John, you haven't really coached in Pittsburgh since the 80s, but it's very clear that your passion for the area and love for the area is still very real.
My time at Pitt was special for me. It's when I first got my first full-time job. You know, Coach Chipman hired me. Coach Evans kept me. And then I got hired by a school that I don't think anybody wanted the job. That's why I got it, UMass. But yes, I do. And Pitt is special to me.
So what about your roots here just continue to be so important to you all these years later?
It's where I grew up. It's where, you know, my dad is no longer here. My mother passed away in November of 2010. But my sisters aren't here, but I have aunts and uncles and cousins and family and friends. And my teammates, some of them live around here. You know, Pittsburgh is just, how can I say, it's such a small city. It's just not like a city. And you have areas, north side, south side. You know, you have out in Aliquippa, you have a different, it's a melting pot of everybody. My dad worked at J&L Steel for a while. My family worked with A&S Railroad and American Bridge and all that. They went through that. My dad worked near the blast furnace. Said he had to stop, and he ended up going to the airport working for Allied Aviation, which fueled the planes, because he said if I stayed there, I was going to die. I was near the he's losing 10 pounds a day. But you're feeding your family. You want your children to have a better life than you had. That's what Pittsburgh was and is. I love going to the Steeler game and seeing the fans. They're like my neighbors. They're, and probably put up a lot of money to get tickets, and they go and they are, sometimes it's like Kentucky fans. They are engaged, and if Mike loses, they're engaged. It's how it is. I mean, with those that's why I love the fans at Kentucky. A good friend of mine said to me, look, everything has become negative. You can't talk to each other anymore. Now it becomes, what's the nastiest thing in saying? That's why I just say to my team and myself, I got to just ignore and know it's where things are, but I'm not going to let it affect me and how I do my job, because I've got people's children. Their precious child, I'm coaching them. So I've got to stay focused and try to get them to stay focused. Last one, you notice my answers are short, but
out of respect to all the other teams, this is the last one right here.
We just talked with Brooke Pryor, ESPN. We were just talking with Greg Campy, your good friend, before you came in here, and he was pretty strong in advocating for the tournament to not expand with some of the proposals on the table. What are your thoughts on that? And does it dawn on you that this could be the last time that there are 68 teams in the field and it could be even bigger next year?
I hope it stays where it is. I know people get mad. They get mad at the committee. You won't believe this. I've been mad at that committee a few times. But you may be mad because of your seed or where they shipped you to. I've said go to the S curve the whole way down. Then you just rank them 1 through 68 and go like that. Well, we can't because of this and leagues and all that. But it doesn't matter who the committee is. We're all going to be upset. You know who's going to be upset now, and I love it? Football coaches. Because it don't matter that it was 4 and there are 2 that are mad. Now they're going to how many? So they're going to be 18 that are mad. And it's part of the NCAA tournament, not getting in, bad seed, good seed. And I always say this, when you give a good team a bad seed, it's not them you're screwing. It's everybody they play that shouldn't have to play that team that early. And so it's part of what it is. Let's keep it, it's too good a thing. It's the event. Like, you could tell I'm excited about coaching in this. Yeah, I'm excited about being home, but they could have sent us to Spokane. I already talked to Mark Few. I was going to stay at his house, watch his dogs. I was good if they sent us there. But here, I'm trying to make sure what I did today at practice. I had a bunch of friends at practice. They saw it. I wasn't looking. I was practicing. Got to take some pictures. Done. Now we play a game. This is a business trip for me. And I'll say everybody that's in this thing, I would say they'd say the same thing. Keep it where it is. Don't mess with something that's great. And the committee literally don't care. Whoever's on it's going to get the same grief that this group got, the last group got. It's what it is. No science to this. You're going to make some mistakes.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.